This video is to discuss the required portion of the third exam. So prepare the necessary adjusting entries. Okay, so Glory Company presented the following information pertaining to accounts that will need adjustments for its November 30, 2019 year-end financial statements. Okay, so these are the following transactions that transpired before November 30, 2019. So by the way, November 30, 2019 is the year end of the financial statements of Glory Company. Number one, on October 1, 2019, Glory Company paid 10,800 for 6 months insurance premiums. So, si Glory Company daw, on October 1, 2019, nagbayad ng advanced insurance premium for 6 months, okay, for the amount of 10,800 pesos. So first, for purposes of discussion, here is the original entry on October 1, 2019 upon payment of the insurance premiums for 6 months. So you debit, of course, an asset account which is in prepaid insurance for 10,800, then credit cash. Okay, so the adjusting journal entry on November 30 would be as follows. So remember that insurance premium for October 1 to November 30 covers 2 months. Okay, from October 1, 2019 to November 30, 2019 is 2 months. Okay, so first, you have to compute the monthly insurance premium. So since the 10,800 pesos cover 6 months, so you divide 10,800 by 6 months. Therefore, the annual insurance premium is 1,800. Okay, so therefore, the insurance expense for the 2 months, October 1 to November 30, would be 1,800 monthly premium times 2, which is the 2 months. Okay, therefore, your insurance expense should be 3,600. Remember that on November 30, the prepaid insurance of 10,800, okay, a portion of which should be derecognized. Okay? Kasi nga, 3,600 daw of the 10,800 is already consumed. Okay? It should be transferred to insurance expense. Kaya, we recognize a portion of the prepaid insurance. Okay? We credited prepaid insurance for 3,600. Number 2, the balance in the ledger account, office supplies, amounted to 32,000. So, therefore, yung unadjusted balance ng office supplies is 32,000 pesos. Assuming that this is the beginning balance plus the purchases of office supplies, 32,000 pesos. Remember that on November 30, the year end of the financial statements of Glory Company, the office supplies, kailangan siya i-count, okay, to determine ilan na lang or magkano yung office supplies na natira. Okay, upon counting, the office supplies totaled 12,800 as of November 30, 2019. Therefore, the difference between 32,000 and 12,800 is already used supply. So you have to transfer that from office supplies to supplies expense. Okay? To reflect, ilan yung or magkano sa 32,000 as office supplies yung na gamit na. In order also to update the balance sa ledger mo with regards to the office supplies account. Okay? So, original entry natin, suppose or assuming na yung 32,000 is pinurchase natin. So, the original entry is debit ka ng office supplies, credit ka ng cash. Assuming na binayaran siya ng cash for 32,000. Now, November 30, we have to adjust the balance of the office supplies. Accordingly, 12,800 na lang daw yung natira na office supplies. Therefore, 32,000 minus 12,800, ito, that's 19,200. Therefore, the 19,200 is already consumed. So it is the value of the supplies that has been consumed from October 1. I don't know, from the date that from the beginning of the year, or from the date that the supplies or office supplies was purchased until or up until November 30, 2019. So, expense mo na yon. Kaya, we debited supplies expense. Okay? And of course, kailangan natin siya, yung 19,200, since nagamit na siya, kaya we have to credit office supplies to de-recognize this portion of the office supplies that has already been consumed. Ayan. So, we debited supplies expense and then credited office supplies for 19,200. Now, let's proceed with number 3. And so, Glory Company, okay, received 2,800 pesos on November 1, 2019 from a customer for services to be rendered during the months of November, December, January, and February. So, in number 3, my unearned uh, service revenue or service income si Glory Company. So, may pre-collection siya ng income, okay, or ng revenue, okay? So, this revenue is yet to be rendered. Kasi nga, Glory Company is offering, in this case, service. Yeah. So, the 22,800 pesos covers the months of November to February. So, that is exactly 4 months. So, what are you gonna do is, of course, upon receipt, no, on November, since November 1 yun na-receive si 22,800, so let's do muna an original entry on November 1. Of course, naka-receive siya ng cash na 22,800. Then, you debit an earned service income. Okay, so, remember that under deferrals, we have prepayments and pre-collections. We have two methods for prepayments and two methods for pre-collection. For prepayments, we have the asset method and the expense method. Of course, those methods, okay, ito yung ginagamit natin upon the original entry. Okay, upon recording or making a journal entry upon the the making of the transaction or the original entry. So, yun yung ginagamit natin. Again, under prepayment, ginagamit natin, it's either asset method or expense method. Okay? And under pre-collection, or when you collect in advance, okay, an income or a revenue, there are two methods. Okay? For original entry, you have the liability method and the income method. When you say liability method, upon original entry, yung kinikredit mo is a liability account. If you use naman income method, yung kinikredit mo is an income account. But, generally, if the problem is silent as to what method shall be used, then you use the asset method for prepayment of expenses and liability method for pre-collection of income. So because the problem is silent as to what type of method or what method shall be used, then we use liability method. So since this is a pre-collection of income, we used liability method. Kaya we debited cash for 22,800 and we credited unearned service income because this income on November 1 is yet to be rendered. Okay, so for the amount of 22,800. Now, on November 30, of course, you are required to provide an adjusting journal entry. So remember that the 22,800 is for the months of November, December, January, and February. So you have to compute the monthly service income, okay, in order for you to provide for the adjusting journal entry. Now, in this case, let's compute the monthly service income that Glory Company should recognize. So, since 22,800 is for 4 months. So you divide 22,800 divided by 4. Therefore, the monthly service income that should be recognized by Glory Company is 5,700. Therefore, on November 30, the adjusting journal entry would be as follows. Remember that Glory Company receives the 22,800 on November 1. So from November 1 to November 30, that is 1 month. So therefore, the 1 month of the unearned service income portion is no longer a liability. Okay, so Glory Company should recognize the 1 month portion of the unearned service income as service income. So you transfer or you recognize a portion of it amounting to 5,700 again for the month of November. Again, because the 22,800 was received on November 1. So from November 1 to November 30, that's 1 month. So the 1 month again of the 22,800 is no longer a liability. It is already an earned, uh, it is earned income or earned service income already. So you're recognized by debiting an earned service income for 5,700 and crediting service income for 5,700. Now, let's proceed with number 4. Let's compute depreciation. So, Glory Company acquired office equipment costing 352,800 pesos on April 1, 2019. So, the equipment is expected to last 5 years, after which it will be worthless. So, to compute annual depreciation, there are uh, three things, no? Or in a given statement, you should pick three important informations. Una, you have to know how much is the cost of the equipment. In this case, it is 352,800. Next is, of course, the salvage value. Okay. In this statement, the salvage value was not given. So, salvage value was 0. So, that's 352,800 less the salvage value, which is 0 since it was not given. Then, the depreciable amount is 352,800. Now, the third information that you need to look into is the useful life. In this case, the useful life or the expected life of the office equipment is 5 years. Therefore, the depreciable amount divided by the expected life of 5 years, then the annual depreciation is 70,560. Now, let's provide for the adjusting journal entry on November 30. Remember that from April 1, 2019 to November 30, 2019, it's not 12 months or it is not 1 year. However, what we have computed, the 70,560 is for, it is good for 1 year. Therefore, we have to apportion, okay, and we have to count the months that the equipment is ready for use up until the year end. So in this case, April 1 to November, kasi November 30 tayo compute at magre-record ng depreciation expense. So since binili siya on April 1 at yung year end natin is November 30, so from April 1 to November 30, that's 8 months. So yung 70,560 natin, since 1 year yan, we have to compute how much is the depreciation expense only for 8 months. So to compute, that's 70,560 na annual depreciation times 8 months divided by 12 months. Therefore, the 8-month depreciation expense that we need to record is 47,040. So, balik class, sa 70,560 na annual depreciation, the 8-month dyan is 47, or the 8 months na depreciation expense dyan is just 47,040. Ayan, so, to provide for the adjusting journal entry, that's depreciation expense, and credit ka ng accumulated depreciation, of course, you have to label it office equipment. Okay, office equipment. and that's 47,040. Now, number 5, weekly payroll is 84,000 pesos, paid every Friday for a 5-day work week. Now, assume that November 30, 2019 falls on Wednesday, so the employees will not be paid until Friday. So, what happened here? Okay? So, si Glory Company daw, nagbabayad siya sa kanyang mga empleyado ng kanilang salaries every Friday. So, every week, particularly every Friday of the week. Therefore, the payroll on November 30, which is Wednesday, the payroll would be, or the expense, the salaries expense on November 30, which is Wednesday, would cover from Monday, which is November 29, Tuesday, which is I don't know, Monday, which is November 28, Tuesday, which is November 29, and Wednesday, which is November 30. That is 3 days. So, since magko-close na yung libro ni Glory Company November 30, the salaries for that day should be accrued. Particularly, ilang araw yon? That's 3 days. Okay, so accrued salaries. So, what you need to do is you have to compute the daily salaries expense of Glory Company. So, how to compute? Since yung 84,000 pesos mo na payroll or na salaries expense is every week, and every week has 5-day work week, then you just divide 84,000 divided by 5 days, okay, equals yung daily salaries expense mo is 16,800. Since from Monday, November 28 to Wednesday, November 30, that's just 3 days. Kaya yung 16,800 mo, you multiply it by 3 days. Okay? Ito yung number of days na kailangan mong i-accrue yung salaries expense mo. That's Monday to Wednesday. That's equal to 50,400. Therefore, to provide for the adjusting journal entry on November 30, that's debit ka ng salaries expense for 50,400, credit ka ng accrued salaries for 50,400. Ayan. Now, let's proceed with number 6. Glory Company borrowed 1 million from PN Bank on March 1, 2019 and issued a 24% one-year note payable. So what happened here is nag-loan or nag-borrow ng money si Glory Company, represented by a note for 1 million with a 24% annual interest on March 1. So remember na yung kailangan natin i-adjust dito would be the interest accrued. Okay? So from March 1, 2019 to November 30, 2019, that's 9 months. So you have to apportion the accrued interest kasi may interest expense ka na doon. Okay? So that's 1 million to compute the interest expense. That's 1 million times 24% or 0.24 times 9/12. That's 180,000 pesos. Okay? So debit interest expense for 180,000 and credit accrued interest payable for 180,000. For number 7, Glory Company estimated that 10,000 pesos of the accounts receivable is doubtful of collection. So simple, provided na already yung amount ng accounts receivable which is doubtful of collection. So simple, the adjusting journal entry on November 30 would be just debit doubtful accounts expense, credit ka ng allowance for uncollectible accounts for 10,000. For number 8, invested 500,000 pesos cash in time deposit. So nag-deposit ka daw sa bangko ng 500,000 pesos, okay, specifically as time deposit, and paid 6% annual interest on June 30, 2019. So nag-deposit ka daw ng 500,000 as time deposit sa bangko, okay, na may 6% annual interest. Now, from June 30 to November 30, 2019, may interest receivable ka na doon kasi nga nag-lapse na yung time or may time na in between the date of the deposit and the date na magko-close na si financial statement mo or yung financial year end mo. So, Remember, June 30 yan. So, the count of the month, okay, the start of the month of the interest would be July. So, hindi mo na i-count si June kasi nga 30 ka nag-deposit June 30. So, the start of the counting of the accrual of the interest should be July, August, September, October, and November, which is 5 months. So, may interest receivable ka na doon. So, to compute the accrued interest receivable June 30 to November 30, that's 5 months. Kaya, 500,000 na deposit mo times 6% or 0.06 na interest, annual interest, times 5 months from June 30 to November 30 divided by 12. Therefore, the accrued, debit ka ng accrued interest receivable or interest receivable for 12,500, and of course, that is interest income. Kaya credit ka ng interest income ng 12,500 kasi nga na-earn mo na yon kasi nga may time na naglapse na yung time from June 30 to November 30, which is 5 months. Now, down to number 9. Okay? So, paid 36,000 pesos on September 1, 2019 as advanced rent for the next 12 months. So, very easy, no? So, yung 36,000 pesos mo daw is advanced rent for 12 months. Okay? So, nagbayad ka on September 1, 2019. So, for purposes of this discussion, let's provide for the original entry on September 1 upon payment of the rent. Okay, debit ka of course on September 1, debit ka ng prepaid rent asset, that is 36,000. Credit ka ng cash for 36,000. Now, from September 1, syempre, nagrenta ka na doon. Starting September 1 to November 30, nagamit mo na yung space for ilang months yon. That's 3 months. It's September, October, and November. So, yung prepaid rent mo na 36,000 should be adjusted kasi nga 36,000 is for 12 months. Now, November 30, hindi na siya for 12 months kasi nagamit mo yung 3 months. So, you have to adjust your prepaid rent. Okay? So, to compute, since 3 months na yung nagamit mo, you have to compute how much of the 36,000 prepaid rent should be transferred to rent expense. So, 36,000 times divided by 12 times 3, or 36,000 times 3 divided 12. Again, yung 3 dito, this represents the months na nag-expire to compute the expired portion of the prepaid rent. Okay, kasi nga, expense mo na yon, hindi na yon prepaid rent. That's 9 months. So, you have to recognize the 9,000 from the 36,000 prepaid rent. Kaya, nag-credit tayo ng prepaid rent ng 9,000. Kasi nga, expense na ito. Hindi na to asset natin. Okay? Hindi na ito asset natin kasi nagamit na natin to for 3 months. Kaya, from prepaid rent na 9,000, okay, tinransfer natin siya sa rent expense. Kasi nga, again, expense na natin to kasi nagamit na natin to, which is for 3 months. Okay? Simple. Now, let's proceed with the last item. Okay? So, si Glory Company daw nagbayad ng 30,000 pesos on November 1, 2019 for advertising contract for 3 months starting November. Okay, so starting November 1, November 1 nagbayad siya ng 30,000 na advertising, okay, contract for 3 months. So, this covers the month of November, December, and January. Yung 30,000 na para sa advertising. Now, it is stated here, okay, na yung ginamit niya in recording the original entry is, yung ginamit niya na account daw is advertising expense. Hindi siya nagamit ng prepaid advertising expense or prepaid expense. Therefore, yung ginamit niya dito na method, okay, under prepayments is the expense method, not the asset method. So, we follow. Okay, kasi nga, it is stated here. Okay? Kaya yung November 1, original entry niya is, nag-debit siya ng advertising expense as stated in the problem. Debit advertising expense for 30,000 and credit cash for 30,000. Now, from November 1, 2019 to November 30, 2019, okay, isang buwan, Okay, kailangan siya mag-recognize ng expenses for only 1 month from November 1 to November 30. Remember na yung in-expense niya, yung ni-record niya na expense is 30,000 which is wrong on November 30. Kasi nga yung expense niya supposedly on November 30 is just for 1 month from November 1 to November 30. Okay? So since 3 months itong 30,000, therefore yung advertising expense niya every month is 10,000 pesos. Now, therefore, on November 30, yung advertising expense niya dapat is just 10,000 pesos. Okay, for 1 month. Now, yung ni-record niya in his or in the book, no, as original entry is 30,000. Dapat 10,000 lang yan on November 30. So, paano maging 10,000 si 30,000? Of course, you deduct 20,000. That's why we credited advertising expense on November 30 as an adjusting journal entry. We credited advertising expense 20,000. And now, if you make a T account, advertising expense, nag-debit ka ng 30,000, nag-credit ka ng 20,000, net ka ng 10,000. So, tama na siya. Okay, tama na siya kasi the real advertising expense on November 30 is just 10,000. Okay? Which covers the month of November. From November 1 to November 30, 10,000 lang siya. Which means the expired portion of the prepaid advertising. Now, si 20,000 na kinancel natin sa advertising expense, saan natin siya ita-transfer? Of course, yung 20,000 natin, it will be transferred to prepaid advertising expense. Okay, by debiting prepaid advertising for 20,000. Of course, tama naman siya kasi ito yung asset natin. Ito yung prepaid expense natin on November 30 for the month of December and January. Kasi nga, this is for 3 months. Nag-expire na si November na 10,000. Kaya, itong prepaid advertising natin na 20,000, this is for the month of December and January. Okay, so the expired portion, November 1 to November 30, that's 1 month. That's 10,000. Unexpired portion, that's from December to January. That's 2 months or 20,000. If you sum, if you get the sum, no, of course you'll get 30, of course 30,000. Ito yung total amount na binayad niya on November 1, 2019. Okay, so that's the end of this video. That's the end of the discussion, no, for the required portion of your third exam. Peace.